Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be giving some spicy book recommendations, so if you are interested, keep on watching. But before we get into it, I would like to share with you guys a recent purchase of mine, and that is a physical copy of Manacled by Senlin Yu. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, I don't know. I believe it's going to get traditionally published. I literally could not find it anywhere online, so I was like, you know what, let me just buy the physical copy of this book. So I did, and I'm super excited to read this. I've heard so many amazing things about this. This is basically a Draco and Hermione fan fiction, yes, from Harry Potter. But yeah, so I just had to get a physical copy of it. It is humongous, so it is very daunting. It has some cool art. Oh, here's another one. It's kind of at the end of the book, but yeah, so I'm super excited about this purchase. I just had to share that because it is just so beautiful and I cannot wait to read it. Also, I wanted to talk about two of my recent reads. The first one being Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. I got to about 70% of this book and DNF'd it. I'm sorry, but I'm not though. I just really couldn't get into it. This follows Ophelia and Blackwell. Ophelia is a necromancer, and when her mom passes away, she inherits all of her mother's powers. Her and her sister are left with their estate. Her and her sister find out some things about the estate and they get into an argument. Her sister runs off, goes to join Phantasma, which are these deadly games. And so if you win the 9 levels and make it to the end of these deadly games, you win a wish. Like, the whole point was for Ophelia to go like find her sister, and maybe it all gets summed up at the end of the book and I'm just talking out of my ass. I just felt like her and Blackwell's romance kind of got in the way of the plot. They fight and they're wrong for each other, and then they go do things together. It just didn't make sense to me, and I just could not connect to the characters, so I DNF'd this. My next recent read was Heartless by Elsie Silver. Literally, what does Elsie Silver put in these books? This is the second book in the Chestnut Spring series, and I just recently read Flawless by her. This is the oldest brother's book, Cade. I literally have no words. Cade is the oldest Eaton brother on this ranch. Summer, from the first book, her best friend is Willa, and Willa has like basically nothing to do all summer, and so Summer is like, please come and be my new fiance's older brother's nanny. It is their romance from there, the tension, and it's a little bit of a slow burn, but not really. The pacing was just so amazing. Elsie Silver gets it. So let's get into the spicy book recommendations. We're gonna start off with a bang. Praise by Sarah Kate. Now, for those of you who have read this book, you have good taste. This book was fantastic. I literally gave it 5 stars on Goodreads because yes, it is purely smut, but there is also an amazing plot in this as well that I was not expecting. This is the first book in the Salacious Players Club series. Basically, it follows Emerson and Charlie. Emerson is one of the owners of Salacious Players Club. Charlie just recently broke up with her boyfriend. She messages him and she's trying to ask him for her security deposit back. Her ex-boyfriend basically tells her, go ask my dad, and she drives to her ex-boyfriend's dad's mansion. She pulls up and talks to like his secretary or something. Secretary is like, yeah, just wait in his office on your knees. On your knees. Go wait for him on your knees. So she's like, oh, okay. So she goes and waits in his office on her knees because why not? But yeah, basically he owns a sexy club and she gets hired to be his assistant. It's just their romance from there. There's a lot of interesting plot points in this book that I really enjoyed. This was so amazing. It's also a pretty quick read. I finished this in a day. I have the second one because it is just so good. Okay, so many books on my floor right now. This is not okay. Okay, I talked about this book in my last video, but I just had to share it on here because it is so spicy. Losers by Harley Laroe. This is a Why Choose. It is Jessica and these 4 boys. She's always been the cheerleader, main it girl, and she's always actually bullied these 4 boys in high school, and so her group of friends that are all basically bullies, they go and they try to mess with the 4 boys, and she gets left behind. So all of her friend group leaves her on their property. They come out and see her and decide that they are going to strike up a deal with her so that she can stay with them and basically be their toy and their plaything for payment. So there's a lot more plot than that, but I don't want to give too much away because I would recommend going into this blind. It is very spicy. It is very spicy. Okay, so the next one I have is Blood Orange by Karina Hale. I'm not sure how you pronounce the last name. This is for all of my vampire girlies. I literally have no other words besides it's good, and the smut is great. This one follows Valtu and Dahlia. Basically, this is a Dracula retelling. So Dracula, the book, was based off of Valtu, this character. In, I think it was like the 17 or 1800s, he fell in love with a human woman named Mina. She was brutally unalived right in front of him, and he basically becomes outraged, ravages the town, and becomes Dracula. Then centuries later, he meets Lucy, who we kind of learn is Mina reincarnated. And so it's basically a reincarnation, second chance. There are plot twists that will have you throwing the novel. There is romance, there is a lot of smut. Literally don't know how to describe it. It is so good and very spicy, and I loved it. Okay, so the next spicy book rec that I have is Flock by Kate Stewart. I thought the spice in this book was really good, especially the lake scene. So this one is an MFM. It follows Cecilia and Sean and Dominic. This one is basically a modern retelling of Robin Hood. Basically, Cecilia is going to Triple Falls to visit her dad and work for him. She ends up meeting Sean and Dominic at a party. So it is basically all 3 of their romances. So next I have Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. This follows Jordan and Pike. This one is a boyfriend's dad romance. Jordan one night goes to the movies and she is kind of clumsy, so she accidentally drops something and it rolls down, and so she meets this guy named Pike. They watch the movie together and they just have the best time. They're giggling, they're laughing, they're flirting. Then when they go to leave, they realize that that man in the movie theater, that is her boyfriend's dad. So it flashes forward and Jordan and her boyfriend move into Pike's house. Her and her boyfriend are kind of in a rocky relationship. They went through a lot together when they were younger, and so they don't actually like truly have that love anymore. And so something happens. She ends up falling for Pike. Very full of spice, from the scenes of them like thinking about each other to the actual parts where they get together. Like, it is just really good. And then the last spicy book rec that I have for you is Credence by Penelope Douglas. I don't have the physical copy of that one, but I am going to be purchasing it. I read it probably about a year ago now, but that was my first MFM that I ever read, and wow. It was also very much taboo. So I don't remember the main character's names. The girl goes to a small town in the mountains to finally meet her estranged uncle. She ends up meeting him and his 2 sons. They're basically preparing for winter, and so they get snowed in for the winter, and she ends up getting with the uncle and his 2 sons. So definitely check out Credence by Penelope Douglas. That is it for today's video. That is all the spicy recommendations I have for you. Please let me know what kind of other recommendations or videos that you would like to see from me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.